Would the registrar please call the case?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is case number IT 0475I, the prosecutor versus Goran Hadžić.
Thank you. Mr. Hadžić, could I first check that you are following the proceedings in a language that you understand?
Mogu.
Yes.
If at any moment you are not receiving interpretation, please let us know immediately. For record, we need your vocal response, Mr. Hadžić.
U redu, razumem se.
Very well, I understand.
Very well. Then, could I have the appearances for the prosecution, please?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Sergio Brammertz for the prosecution, together with Ken Scott and Aixa Janssen-Leka.
Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor. For the defense, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Vladimir Petrović, attorney at law, as duty counsel for Mr. Hadžić.
Good afternoon, Mr. Petrović, to you. Mr. Hadžić, would you please state your full name for the record?
Zovem se Goran Hadžić.
My name is Goran Hadžić.
What is the date and place of your birth, please?
7. september.
7 September 1958.
And your birthplace?
Vinkovci.
Vinkovci.
Thank you. I'm Judge Ogon Kwon from South Korea. Mr. Hadžić, I understand that your family and the embassy of the country of which you are a national, i.e. Serbia, have been informed about your transfer to and detention in the United Nations detention unit of the Tribunal in Scheveningen, The Hague. Could you confirm that my understanding is correct?
Tačno ste to shvatili, mogu da pozovem.
Your understanding is correct. I can confirm that.
Thank you, Mr. Hadžić. This is the initial appearance of Mr. Goran Hadžić upon his transfer to the tribunal. The hearing is to be conducted in accordance with Rule 62 of the Rules of Procedure and Evidence of the tribunal. The original indictment against the accused was confirmed on 4th of July 2004 and made public on 16th July 2004. The indictment has since been amended, and the now operative indictment was filed on 22nd July 2011. On 21st of July 2011, I, as the acting president, assigned this case to Trial Chamber 2, composed of Judges Delvoye, Hall, and Mindua. It is my understanding that that chamber has decided that Judge Guy Delvoye from the Kingdom of Belgium will preside over the case. However, because of the judicial recess, I have assigned myself for the purpose of this initial appearance. Before we move further, I would like to inform you, Mr. Hadžić, that you have a fundamental right to remain silent throughout these proceedings, and it will not be held against you. Is this understood?
Razumeo sam.
I understand.
Thank you. Further, Articles 20 and 21 of the Statute of the International Tribunal guarantee the accused a number of rights, which I will now ask the registrar to read out in full.
Article 20. Commencement and conduct of trial proceedings. 1. The trial chamber shall ensure that a trial is fair and expeditious and that proceedings are conducted in accordance with the rules of procedure and evidence with full respect for the rights of the accused and due regard for the protection of victims and witnesses. 2. A person against whom an indictment has been confirmed shall, pursuant to an order or an arrest warrant of the International Tribunal, be taken into custody, immediately informed of the charges against him, and transferred to the International Tribunal. 3. The trial chamber shall read the indictment, satisfy itself that the rights of the accused are respected, confirm that the accused understands the indictment, and instruct the accused to enter a plea. The trial chamber shall then set the date for trial. 4. The hearings shall be public unless the trial chamber decides to close the proceedings in accordance with the rules of procedure and evidence. Article 21. Rights of the accused. 1. A person shall be equal before the International Tribunal. 2. In the determination of charges against him, the accused shall be entitled to a fair and public hearing subject to Article 22 of the statute. 3. The accused shall be presumed innocent until proved guilty according to the provisions of the present statute. 4. In the determination of any charge against the accused pursuant to the present statute, the accused shall be entitled to the following minimum guarantees in full equality. A. To be informed promptly and in detail in a language which he understands of the nature and cause of the charge against him. B. To have adequate time and facilities for the preparation of his defense and to communicate with counsel of his own choosing. C. To be tried without undue delay. D. To be tried in his presence and to defend himself in person or through legal assistance of his own choosing, to be informed if he does not have legal assistance of his right, and to have legal assistance assigned to him in any case where the interests of justice so require, and without payment by him in any such case if he does not have sufficient means to pay for it. E. To examine or have examined the witnesses against him and to obtain the attendance and examination of witnesses on his behalf under the same conditions as witnesses against him. F. To have the free assistance of an interpreter if he cannot understand or speak the language used in the International Tribunal. And G. Not to be compelled to testify against himself or to confess guilt. Thank you.
Mr. Hadžić, do you have any questions on what was just read out to you?
Nemam.
I don't.
Thank you. One of the purposes of the initial appearance is to make sure that the accused understands the indictment against him. Mr. Petrović, has your client received the amended indictment in his own language?
Yes, Your Honor. He has received the indictment, and Mr. Hadžić and I analyzed that indictment together this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Petrović. It is the right of the accused to have the indictment read out in a language he understands. Mr. Petrović, does your client wish to have the indictment read out in full?
Your Honor, no. Mr. Hadžić has familiarized himself with the content of the indictment, and there is no need for the indictment to be read out in court here today.
Thank you, Mr. Petrović. The next step is then entry of a plea to the charges of the indictment. The accused may enter a plea within 30 days, 30 days of the initial appearance, but he may enter a plea at the time of the initial appearance, if he so wishes. Mr. Petrović, does your client wish to enter a plea today or do it later?
Your Honor, Mr. Hadžić is not going to enter a plea today. He is going to avail himself of the rights guaranteed to him in Article 62.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Petrovic. Since the accused hasn't entered a plea today, a further initial appearance will be scheduled within 30 days by the trial chamber, and the parties will be informed of its date and location in due course. Then, is there any matter that parties wish to raise at this stage? Mr. Prosecutor.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Promise. For the defense, Mr. Petrovic.
Your Honor, there is one question, but I would ask you that we move into private session for a moment so that I could address you on that issue.
Very well, we go into private session. An open session. Unless there are any things to be raised by the parties, the hearing is now adjourned.
All rise. Veuillez vous lever.